edition of AM Minnesota. I always enjoy doing AM Minnesota, but I was really looking forward to today's show. Travis Block is with us. He's in charge of the Public Works Department in the city of Faribault. Thanks for coming on, Travis.
Thank you, Gordy. Thanks for having me in here this morning.
Yeah, well, we were visiting. I was visiting with City Administrator Anderson, I don't know, a couple months back, and we were talking about AM Minnesota and having city folks on the air, and I said, you know, what we ought to do is talk to some people we don't typically have on the air, like yourself, and learn about their departments. And he thought it was a pretty good idea, so I'm glad you guys agreed to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to be educated on all of the departments. You know, the police are on quite often, the fire's on quite often, the parks department's on quite often, but I don't know that we've ever had the Public Works Department on this show.
Yeah, there we go, making the Public Works debut.
Yeah, the Public Works debut. I thought about doing this during National Public Works Week, which is in October, right? It's in the fall, isn't it?
No, I believe it's in the springtime. It's in May, I believe, sometime. Yeah, maybe next year that's something we could shoot forward.
But we could actually do a show, as I mentioned to you yesterday, on the fall, on virtually every department in your department, every division in your department.
Yeah, there's a few things going on in Public Works. We could get a little bit of material there, I think.
Let's get a little bit of your background. We just, before we went on the airwaves, heard that you come from a family that believes in serving the public.
Yes, absolutely. My father spent 39 years Public Works service, the City of St. Peter, serving in the fire department for about 35 years as well, fire chief in that capacity. My middle brother, Justin, he's a sheriff's deputy with Nicollet County, and then my youngest brother, Adam, is a conservation officer with Scott County, Minnesota Department of Natural Resources. So yeah, it's in my blood, I guess, so to speak.
And everybody's stayed close to home.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's a great thing. Yeah. Within an hour, I can see everybody, so it's pretty cool.
You were just mentioning the reason why you like Public Works is its versatility.
Yes, I do. It's a very diverse and broad field with all the various departments and the services that are provided to the public, and I thoroughly enjoy being involved in trying to make those things improve and go better and make the community just a better place to be.
For example, you're involved in the airport and you're involved in yard waste.
That is correct. The airport is one of the divisions that's under my authority, administer that. We have a contract operator, fixed-based operator that Quality Aviation, Jerry there, does a great job for us. But I get to do a lot of the paperwork stuff dealing with the Federal Aviation Administration, MnDOT Aeronautics, that type of stuff. So yeah, that, and then the compost as well, the yard waste site where folks can bring their grass clippings, branches, leaves, garden waste, that type of stuff.
You like dealing with paperwork?
Yeah, you know, it's something that I don't mind it. It's I look at the challenge in it. Sometimes it's you know, it can be a little cumbersome, frustrating to maybe work your way through some of that stuff, especially if it's the first time you're working with some of these grant programs and such through the FAA or whether it be MnDOT. But once they get into it and you know, kind of get your hands around it a little bit, it's enjoyable. I find it enjoyable. Well,
we were chatting yesterday, FEMA, you know, some of the things you have to deal with there, you got to shake your head sometimes. For example, you had a dike up to protect the sewage facility, right?
Correct.
The treatment plant here in Faribault.
Correct.
And they said that you had to take it down.
Yes, that is correct. We installed a temporary levee at the wastewater facility, last spring when we had a fairly high amount of rain there in June, to prevent what we thought could potentially happen that occurred in 2010.
Right.
So in doing that effort, FEMA said, you know, they would reimburse us for those efforts only if the situation was returned to the previous condition, meaning taking the levee out.
Yeah, which, you know, you got to scratch your head sometimes about some of that stuff. Hey, Minnesota, today we have Travis Block with us. He's the Public Works Director for the City of Faribault. This is a show I've been looking forward to doing. Next week, by the way, we're going to have a lot of interesting programs. Not that we don't every week. But on Monday, we'll be visiting with Al Spitzak about the North Morristown 4th of July picnic, which is next weekend. We're looking forward to heading out there. They're going to have a patriotic program again. He'll tell us who their keynote speaker is, and they would really like World War II veterans to appear, and there aren't many of those left, frankly. So if you know a World War II veteran, please bring them out to the North Morristown picnic. They want to recognize those folks. They don't have to give a speech or anything, but they would like to recognize them and thank them for their service. Tuesday we'll have another edition of Fair Talk. John Dvorak will be stopping by our studios, I'm sure. We'll be visiting with folks from Main Street on Wednesday. Thursday we have a special hour-long edition of our AM Minnesota show from the Cannon Valley Fair. They're celebrating their 100th fair this year, and they're doing it up in a big way. And we're going to be doing a special hour-long show from the Cannon Valley Fair in Cannon Falls next Thursday. And those are some of the shows we have booked. And on Friday we may be heading over to Elysian and talking about their 4th of July events. So a lot of things going on in the area, Travis.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happening.
We still do fireworks here, right, on the 4th?
Yes, yep, there will be fireworks on the 4th.
Unfortunately, I'm usually out of town on the 4th, and I don't get to see them. Although, when I am home, I can sit right on my back porch or deck and watch them right from my house.
Same with me. Yep, I get that same benefit. It's kind of nice.
I can't believe the number of vehicles that drive by my place and head to the fairgrounds to watch them.
Yeah, a lot of folks like to go out for that. That's great.
It's been a tradition here for many, many years.
Yep.
Are you guys in charge of that too?
No, I do not have anything to do with fireworks.
Okay. Maybe you could give us an overview of what you do oversee.
Yes, some of the departments that I oversee, one being the street department. Some of those duties are, street sweeping, snow and ice control, patching, pavement patching, striping, sign replacement, seal coating, that type of thing. The next division is our utilities division, which has a water supply, drinking water supply in there, collection system, so the sewer, sanitary sewer, the conveyance system to get it to the wastewater treatment facility, and then the storm sewer utility is in that department as well, the conveyance system for the storm water. And then equipment maintenance comes in there too, the staff that repairs, maintains our fleet of equipment. So that's a few things there. And then as we touched on earlier, the airport, that falls under that. And then the water reclamation facility, otherwise known as the wastewater treatment plant, down there on 14th Street.
Yeah, you had to be pretty happy with this past winter. I would guess snow removal budget was way under budget.
It was kinder to us, I guess, than it could have been. The year before was a little rough, especially with snow plowing efforts. The biggest impact you can have is on the budget is kind of timing of those events. If they happen on a Friday evening, Saturday morning, that type of thing. So timing really has a lot to do with that. And if you have a lot of maybe smaller events versus one larger event, so it all, therefore increasing the amount of trips that you have to make out, burning fuel, that type of thing. So a lot of variables in there, and looking at the snow removal budgetary items.
I don't even know, how do you budget for that? Because it's a crapshoot, isn't it?
Well, yeah, Gordy, we go with an average kind of an average storm season type thing, and that's about the the best you can do is just try to go that route, because Mother Nature is in charge of it, and we don't know what she's going to do.
Sure. Can you carry over what you don't use the previous year into the next year? How does that work?
Not that I'm aware of. We don't have any carryover, so to speak, like that. But budget numbers can be adjusted and obviously moved up and down, that type of thing, to need be.
How many miles of street you guys have to plow?
Well, we have in the city of Faribault, we have 105 center line miles of city street that we maintain, and then as well as 13, I believe it's 13.08 miles of MnDOT road. That would be Highway 60, 298, 299 on the east side.
Do they contract with the city to do that for them, or how does that work?
That is correct. We sign, the city council authorizes a routine maintenance agreement with MnDOT, which just recently at the last council meeting was renewed again for the next 2 years. It's a 2-year agreement, and then under that agreement we provide snow and ice control services and some street sweeping functions and other minor patching, that type of thing.
And they provide all our street lights for free for that, right?
Unfortunately, no.
That'd be a nice deal if we could grab it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure that it's not a total reimbursement, or is it? You have to determine your costs and then they reimburse you based on that, or is there a set figure in there?
No, that amount is set from that contract every year. It's an annual compensation, and that's determined when the contract is signed.
Sure. Does it cover the cost?
Yeah, it's verdict is still out there on that. It's maybe not a 100% coverage of that cost, you know, but yeah, so probably not exactly.
I was just telling you before during our market update, and you said, well, this is probably something that Tim Murray should be thanked for, but I wanted to publicly thank you guys for not putting a roundabout down here on the, oh, what am I thinking of? My streets here. I'm getting them
just
confused.
down off of Highway 60 there?
Yeah, on Highway 60, they were talking about putting I think MnDOT wanted to put if I'm not mistaken, a roundabout there, right?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that.
To fix that freeway stop.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. It's Tim Murray in engineering would have been, and his staff would have been, in negotiations and conversations with the MnDOT folks.
But I did want to thank somebody for it. Maybe we'll have to have Tim on the show and you can thank him for that.
Yeah, there you go.
No roundabouts in the city of Faribault.
There we go.
I haven't even counted the stoplights.
Stoplights. See, I have
but you have the stop signs, I'm sure.
Correct. Well, I have some numbers in front of me as under our traffic signs and signals was in 2014. Street signs that we replaced were 27 of them that were in replacement, and then 165 ones that either were repaired, that may have been damaged or just maybe aging, that type of thing.
Wow, that's almost 200 right there.
Yeah, it's well, in the street lighting, we did have 45 street light outage reports, meaning that folks, whenever they see a street light outage, they can contact the Public Works Department, and then we notify the proper folks to get those back up and functional.
Is that run by MnDOT? Do they run those street lights?
No, what we do with that is we work with Excel Energy on the replacement of those, because like out in the residential areas, those are Excel does like if there's a bulb out and someone reports that into Public Works, then we contact the folks at Excel, and then they come out and replace that. So
did your department oversee the placement of the security cameras downtown and various locations?
No, we did not. That was through the police department that did that.
They had placed them too?
I don't believe they did. I mean, I believe it was contracted. But
okay. Yeah. I noticed that a lot of intersections we now have the cameras too.
I'm unaware of cameras in the intersections. I know there's some talk about getting potentially what it's referred to as an opticon, I think is the terminology they use in the industry to change the signal lights when emergency vehicles are approaching, like in some other communities or larger areas that you notice.
I don't know if you've noticed, but there are shoes on the power line down here at the end of 7th Street.
Really?
If you go north, you'll see the tennis shoes that are tied to the power line.
No, I have not seen that.
That's interesting how they got those up there.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Well, at least they were there last night. Been there for a couple of weeks anyway.
All right.
So, sewer line, water line, we got lots of miles of that too.
Yes, we do. We have about just a little bit over 117 miles of sanitary sewer to convey wastewater, domestic wastewater and industrial wastewater to our facility. And then we have approximately 142 total miles of water main, being about 135 of those excluding private water mains in certain locations. So, and then we have about 68 miles of storm sewer to convey storm sewer or stormwater to the receiving body of water.
City of Duluth recently, I think it was as recent as a couple of days ago, had come clean, so to speak, with the state about discharging water into the Lake Superior.
Mm-hmm.
They did that for many, many, many years. They discharged their waste into Lake Superior. That no longer is happening under this agreement. To the best of your knowledge, has that ever happened here in Faribault? I mean, back in the day, you know, we didn't know any better, so.
Yeah, I don't know. Our treatment facility, I believe, was constructed in the 50s, and currently after treatment, our water is discharged into the Straight River, which then joins the cannon there just a little bit downstream.
You want to emphasize that's after treatment.
That is correct. That is correct. The Straight River is our receiving body of water, and we are permitted through the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency and regulated and have discharge parameters that need to be met to ensure that we're not negatively impacting that receiving water.
And they check that on a fairly regular basis, I would guess?
That is correct. We have a monthly, what is called a monthly discharge monitoring report that we are required under our permit with the Pollution Control Agency to report to them. And within that monitoring report, there's several parameters that are tested for in different varying frequencies. Some of them are 3 times a week, some of them are daily, that type of thing. So then those numbers are submitted and then tracked, and analyzed, and annual reports are compiled, and then we do have periodic compliance inspections. So staff from the MPCA will visit, come on site, verify, want to see testing records, documentation, proof basically that you're using sound technique and that type of stuff to ensure that you are complying with the permit.
And you've been involved in that for, what, almost 2 decades?
Yeah, I got my start down there in 1998 at the wastewater facility here with the city of Faribault. I was an operator there, and then for a while when we operated a state certified analytical lab, I operated that, and then eventually was the foreperson there and oversaw the daily biological and process control operations of the facility. So yeah, it's kind of where my heart is at times, I guess. You know, that's where I got my start, but that definitely prepared me for my current role, because the one thing at the wastewater facility with operating a living biological system, there's always change and flux, and things are constantly changing, so you have to adapt and have to be able to make changes. So it was a lot of good lessons learned there.
I'm sure, like most things these days, the technology in the last 18 years has really changed the way you do things.
Yes, the technology in the wastewater field has kind of leaps and bounds from what it was when I started the facility. Our last big upgrade there that was finished just a few years ago brought in a lot of that stuff. We've got some great process control equipment there now that allows us to achieve that permit compliance more efficiently and effectively through the use of technology. And something as simple as a control for a pump that before was maybe either an on and off basis, now it's hooked to a drive that operates on a frequency that's tied to the flow, so as the facility receives a greater flow, that pump speeds up, and then as the flow drops, that signal decreases, and then that pump ramps down. So the technology's been around a while, but this last upgrade we got to really implement that a lot more, and it's made things a lot more efficient. And just one of the permit parameters we have is we have to remove by our permit 85% of the biological oxygen demand that enters the facility, and for the month of April we were able to achieve 98% removal. And then the same holds true for what I refer to as total suspended solids, so particulate matter that is suspended in the waste stream. That again, we were required to remove 85% of that, and we were able to achieve 93% removal for the month of April. So some good treatment there going on.
Yeah. How do we compare to other communities?
There's a lot of the utilities in the industry do a fantastic job. That's everybody's goal, kind of in wastewater treatment, is we're kind of the stewards of the environment. We're the line of defense between what we do on a daily basis, our daily lives, and keeping nature as, preserving it in its current condition the best we can. Well, we're continuing to grow, we're continuing to expand, continuing to do more and more things as a society. That raises the challenges and efforts that we see then in that utility industry to make sure that we're still achieving what we were before, so we're not even having a negative impact on that environment.
Yeah, a couple council meetings ago, your department received an award.
Yes, we did. The operations staff, Henry Morgan, the wastewater superintendent there, received that award on behalf of our operational staff for the Central States chapter of the Water Environment Federation for outstanding professionalism and operations in the field. So that we were the only facility in the state of Minnesota to get selected for that. So really proud of that. That's great. And we've also received some other awards in the past from Minnesota Pollution Control Agency for no violations of your discharge permit throughout the year. So we take a lot of pride in our work here at the City of Faribault, not just in that department, but in all of our public works departments. That's one thing that is very, that really impresses me, is the amount of pride that all of the staff in public works has in what they do on a daily basis, trying to make Faribault the best place that it can be.
Yeah, a lot of people, the general public, we don't even think about it.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in public works is maybe kind of behind the scenes stuff. Some stuff, yes, you obviously know when you're driving down the road and you hit a pothole, that you see. But when you do a load of laundry, maybe not so much. So some of the efforts, we've had some educational efforts done. We've had some of the youth groups have come through schools and such, and the senior center came through a while back and gave a tour. I was able to provide a tour to those folks, and that was fantastic. Anytime just when you hear people, wow, I didn't know that, I never knew that. That feeling to me that's a great sense of satisfaction when I can
I'm sure
educate folks.
A lot of the seniors are way before we ever even had wastewater treatment plants.
Yeah, so interesting conversations with some folks that say, well, I remember when they did this, and I remember that, and then for them to get to see what's going on now, it's pretty special.
Yeah, a lot of changes. Travis Block is the Public Works Department head. What have we not touched on that you deal with? The airport, is it pretty busy here in Faribault?
Yeah, we have a fair amount of general aviation activity going on out at the airport there. Just currently are just starting a project, a pretty large reconstruction, rehabilitation project of the east taxi lane area where planes taxi in and out of. But yeah, we have in 2014 we had 26 hangar leases, and that we leased out hangars, and then 35 land leases where some of those are are private hangars. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening. Folks coming and going. It's quite interesting. I went to an airport conference this spring, and they were talking about a program that pilots have. Where it's a passport thing where they go around and try to get to as many airports in the state as they can and check them off on their passport. I never knew such a thing existed, but folks that have planes like to fly them, and they like to visit different airports. So I'm sure there's some of that stuff that's taking place. People are visiting Faribault for that reason, and so it's good. It's a good thing.
Could the president land here with an airplane? Could Air Force One land out at the Faribault Airport?
Air Force One could not land at our airport due to the size of our runway, and it's just not designed for that size of aircraft to use our.
Obviously, the helicopter could, but
correct.
Not Air Force One.
That is correct. I don't think we'll be able to get Air Force One in here anytime soon.
No, not unless it were, forced to land.
There you go.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Oh, we got a couple minutes left in the show, Travis. Is there a bit of information that you'd like to get out to the public concerning the Public Works Department?
Just that one thing that we program that we kind of did here recently was a program with the Environmental Protection Agency, where due to our 2010 flooding event, we kind of got on their radar for this, what they call a climate resilience evaluation and awareness tool, CREATE. And what it does is it looks at and assesses your utility in any capacity that you choose, and then pick a potential climate-related event, such as droughts, floods, anything, and examine your resiliency of your system against that. So they thought 2010, big flood, some material here, so I had several webinars, teleconferences with those folks, and what the program did was developed kind of some potential long-term 30-year into 60-year planning things to try and see and if there's anything you could do to minimize your future risk if there is such a thing. So it was a pretty good program, and kind of towards the end of that, the Environmental Protection Agency's Office of Wastewater Management approached me and wanted to utilize us in kind of a case study for them in looking at some other, taking the things that were found out in the CREATE program and then further examining them and in more in-depth alternative analysis. And so they asked, would you be willing to do that? So yeah, so we're kind of getting ready to start that. So that's something that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, sounds interesting. We'll have to keep people informed after that gets done and maybe do a report on that.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Travis, for coming in today. I certainly appreciate it. We just barely touched the tip of the iceberg, I know, on what Public Works does, but hopefully we were able to give an informative overview of your department.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me in. We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, I would look forward to that. That concludes today's edition of A Minnesota. Have yourselves a super weekend tomorrow.